Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're going to be reading an ex-vegan article that seems to be making the rounds and has been shared by many anti-vegans online, including our favorite, What I've Learned. This ex-vegan article is so just generic and typical that upon reading it, I was under the impression that somebody just went to ChatGPT and said, hey, could you just formulate for me a quick ex-vegan story? Because the person this ex-vegan story is about pretty much hits every single point that we're used to hearing over and over and over again. The one thing they did not hit is the use of the word journey. So perhaps it wasn't made from ChatGPT, because ChatGPT would have surely picked up on using the word journey.
And the journey has just begun.
And going through the journey.
And his journey had a lot to do with my journey, because obviously
This is just my own personal journey.
I'm just sharing my journey.
A very interesting journey.
Journey.
So I feel like health is a journey.
journey. We all eat kale and never think about it, but that kale had a journey.
The article is called I Was Vegan for Years, Then Quit. My health problems stopped instantly. Yeah, so, we have the health problems stopping instantly claim just in the title, which tells us nothing about this being related to the placebo effect or anything like that. It's totally reasonable to expect multiple health problems to go away upon consuming a molecule of animal products. So let's go ahead and read some of the more juicy parts of the article. We're going to be skipping part of the article where she discusses how she was initially vegetarian and was having some issues, started supplementing with iron, and then eventually had some meat and didn't feel too comfortable doing so, and then slowly started to take out animal products again in her diet. She slowly started to realize that adding any animal products to her diet was causing stomach issues and other various symptoms. And then she became an athlete around 2010. In 2010, I became a full-time athlete. I had started taking aerial classes in which I perform acrobatics while hanging from a specialist fabric and was very quickly enamored by it. Soon I was doing it every day and eventually started teaching and performing aerial. As my lifestyle became increasingly active, my body needed more protein to keep up, but I wasn't getting enough from plant sources that I was eating. Once again, I began experiencing extremely low energy, even though this time I was taking iron supplements regularly. She's saying this time because in the article previously, she discussed that she used to have anemia. She said she was napping all the time and constantly felt tired. My skin was pale and pasty. Friends started telling me I didn't look well, but I just told them it was because I wasn't sleeping. So notice she said that she wasn't getting enough plant protein to keep up with her very active lifestyle. Here's something crazy you can do when you realize you're not getting enough plant protein to, keep up with your crazy active lifestyle. Consume more plant protein. An insane concept, I know. She said, my hair started to fall out, my nails were brittle, and my teeth became loose in my gums. I would look in the mirror and my tongue was white. My stomach was constantly having bad reactions to food, and I didn't understand why. There were multiple things going on. At first, I thought these symptoms were the result of a lack of sleep or stress, so I kind of wrote them off. But when I saw the more severe impacts on my skin and hair, it really started to get to me. Initially, I couldn't figure out what the cause was because nothing had changed about my diet. It didn't occur to me that my new lifestyle was changing how my body processed protein. So she's under the impression that the fact that she's starting to become more athletic and become an athlete and do all this aerial work is causing her body to digest protein differently. I don't really know what she means when she says that her body was changing in the way in which it digested protein. She doesn't really specify what she means here, but let's keep reading. I never went to a doctor. Okay, so this is the part that doesn't really surprise me whatsoever. She never went to a doctor for any of these problems. She never went to a plant-based dietitian. She never went to get any tests done. She didn't go to a gastroenterologist to see if she's having any, specific digestive issues caused by a specific kind of disease or disorder, like Crohn's disease, for example, which I actually have and had symptoms of before I was vegan. So let's just take note of that. She never went to a doctor. She admitted this. Then she says, but my body started to crave things that it hadn't for many years. For example, if my roommate cooked fish or chicken, it smelled delicious to me. Yeah, so sometimes I will crave things that I haven't craved in a while. For example, there was a time in my life where I preferred ice cream over donuts. I was craving ice cream way more than donuts. Basically, anytime I wanted something sweet, it'd be something like ice cream or even maybe like chocolate bars or something, but not donuts. I just didn't really have a thing for donuts anymore. But then all of a sudden, I started to crave donuts again. I guess this means that my body is in need of donuts. Normally, both the smell and sight of these things would put me off. I never had a problem with people eating meat around me, but I preferred not to look at it. At first, I couldn't figure out why. I think I was in denial about it for a few months. By this stage, being vegetarian or vegan had become such a big part of my life. It had become more of a moral stance and felt as though it was ingrained in my identity. I didn't want to harm animals or support their slaughter. Just skipping a little bit. Eventually, I told a good friend of mine about my cravings and everything that was going on with my body. So she tells a good friend of hers about what she's going through, but still doesn't decide to go to a doctor or a dietitian or anything to see what's going on with her. Really good stuff. When you're feeling ill or weird and you're not really sure what's going on with your body, don't really consult with a doctor or experts or people that have spent most of their lives working on these issues. Instead, just talk to your friend. Anyway, her very educated friend said that it sounded as though she was craving meat because she needed it, and that maybe she should try giving her body what it wanted. Yeah, I had a friend too that just told me that one time with donuts that maybe I'm just craving donuts because I need them. Because, you know, donuts are very needed to survive, and a way to know this is to see if you're craving them. Skipping through. So after 20 years of avoiding meat, I very gradually introduced animal products back into my diet, starting with salmon roll, which was fine. After trying fish, I eased into poultry, having a chicken dinner a week later. Gradually, I worked my way up toward red meat, starting with very small amounts of things like bacon fat. It took a full 2 weeks for the complete transition. I was shocked at how dramatic the change was. It was almost immediate. Instantly, my skin became healthier and my complexion improved. In a matter of days, my nails thickened up, my teeth were no longer loose, and my hair started to grow normally. Sorry, what deficiency causes your teeth to be loose and can be resolved within a couple days of just eating some meat? She says it was almost immediate. Instantly, her skin got better, her nails got better, and her teeth were no longer loose. After a couple days, okay? Is this possible? Does anybody know if deficiencies can just resolve this quickly? This is another example of one of those people who consume just, you know, a couple servings a day over the course of 3 days or so and claim that their health problems are just disappearing. This all just sounds like the placebo effect. I've talked about this on my channel before, but one of my first flares of Crohn's disease was back before I was even vegan, and it was about a month or two that I had this flare and I had weird digestive problems. I wasn't feeling good. I felt foggy. And again, I didn't know it was Crohn's and I didn't take any medication for it. But after 2 months, I just felt significantly better and the flare was completely gone. Now just imagine if I made a dietary change during that point in time where the flare just turned off for whatever reason. You know, Crohn's disease is very mysterious for those of you who don't know. I would attribute that dietary change to the reduction in symptoms and the absence of the flare, when in reality, we don't really know what actually caused the symptoms to go away. This is why it's important to go to doctors and get tests done to see what actually is going on, as opposed to just relying on your subjective feelings in order to evaluate how you should go about resolving your issue. If I was like her during my first flare, and, you know, maybe a month into the flare or a month and a couple weeks into the flare, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go on a fully fruitarian diet. And then my flare turned off as it was going to anyway. I'd be like, I guess I should just be a fruitarian because I felt so bad and now I'm eating just fruits and all the symptoms have gone away. That's just one example of how unreasonable it is to approach these kinds of issues in the way that she did. After so long of not consuming any animal byproducts, I thought my system would take longer to adjust, but it was a really quick transition from feeling deathly ill to completely normal health. So I guess within a couple days, she went from feeling deathly ill to feeling like she's in normal health. She got 0 tests done, went to 0 doctors, and claims that all of these symptoms went away after a couple of days. Not to mention, guys, we have no specific information as to what her calorie intake was leading up to her transitioning to eating animal foods, if she was supplementing properly, how varied her diet was. We don't know any of that information. She says, I had conflicting emotions at first. Not consuming animals had been a moral thing that I centered parts of my identity around. But now I just try to be ethical about the animal products I do consume, making sure only to buy free-range, ethically sourced food. Yes, because when you allow your future murder victim to roam freely, it's okay to murder them at around 1/4 their natural lifespan or possibly even less for a burger. I hope it's local too, you know, because if something is local, that means that it's moral. If someone you're going to kill is close to you, then you are more justified in having them murdered for a hamburger. It was very surprising to me that something as simple as eating meat changed my life so drastically, because I was doing everything I thought I was supposed to do, but it just wasn't working for me. Everything I thought I was supposed to do. Not quite. One of the things you're supposed to do when you're having ill health is go to a doctor. She did not go to a doctor. She just decided to eat meat and then magically her health problems went away within a couple days. I've personally never seen any data suggesting that deficiencies can be resolved this quickly. And then at the end, she says, if I was going to opt for any advice for anyone considering a plant-based diet, I would just say listen to your body and don't let anyone else tell you what's right for you. Yeah, I mean, I'm over here on a plant-based diet and I'm having some cravings for, you know, about 34 donuts a day. And, you know, people are telling me, especially doctors and this, you know, plant-based dietitian I go to, they're saying, don't do that. That's not good for you. You're gonna, you know, develop various health problems. But I'm not gonna let them tell me what to do. You know, I'm just listening to my body. I have a friend of mine too who is craving cocaine, and you know, I'm trying to tell him, bro, like, don't do that, that's not good for you. And he's like, dude, you know, he read this article and he saw the last part where it said, don't tell me what to do, I'm gonna listen to my body, whatever. And I heard that and I was like, you know what, you're totally right, dude. Just listen to your body, go snort that cocaine. Your body knows best, always. Just use intuition. Don't go through, you know, nutrition science or anything like that, or, you know, consult with experts who actually specialize in this area. Just listen to your body, because your body specializes in this area more than any nutrition scientist does. Totally. All right, guys. Well, that's the end of the video. What we've learned from this is that you should not go to a doctor. That's what you should do when you're, you know, having issues with your health. Because, you know, remember she said, I was doing everything that I should do, right? And, you know, not going to a doctor is one of those things. Amazing. And lastly, you can resolve deficiencies within a couple days and cause your loose teeth to no longer become loose. Totally. Meat is magical. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you support my work and want to get early access to it, you can click the link in the pinned comment and support me on Patreon. And if you don't know, I do have a book going over most, if not all, of the anti-vegan arguments you can hear online. If you want to get that as well, that'll be linked in the pinned comment. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Dude,
fuck off. I don't want anything to do with you. Don't ever speak to me again. You're a fucking piece of shit.
even vegans don't get your weird, stupid wannabe sense of irony here. Who is your audience? Nobody gets these dumb jokes. Dude,